Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, the website is live. Okay, the website went up over a week ago as of me recording this, and my lazy butt decided to go and procrastinate instead of collecting her thoughts into a true script right away, but I think it's okay for me to be a little tardy to the party. Meitantei Pretty Cure itself doesn't air until February 1st, so I have the better part of a month to get out a video discussing it. We now have confirmation of the cure's appearances and names, and yep, the leaks were real in case you had any doubt at all. And more importantly, we have a brief synopsis of the plot. Fellas, we are breaking a lot of new ground with this season. Our main character is Anna Akechi. For the sake of simplicity, we're going with Western name order here, first name first, last name last. Anna's very interesting, and not just because she's the first ever purple protagonist in a Pretty Cure season. See, the real shocker is that she's from the far-off future of 2027. That's a really strange choice, and I don't know what they're trying to do here. Unless the world gets really crappy really quick, I don't see 2027 being all that different from the current year 2026. And if the world does become a dystopia within a year, why is Anna so cheerful and normal looking? So, if 2027 isn't too terribly different from 2026, why not just have Anna live in the present day? Well, the answer is don't think about it, because this season takes place in neither 2027 nor 2026. For you see, Anna is sent back in time to the first Thanksgiving to take turkeys off the menu. Just kidding, she's actually sent to the year 1999. That's right, Meitantei will be the first Pretty Cure season to take place in the past. That is so cool, OMG. Okay, I wasn't even born back then, but wow, that sounds so nostalgic anyways. Flip phones and Windows 95 and Game Boys and PS1s and really cool looking retro internet from before the corpo minimalist aesthetic took over. I can only imagine how much fun this season is going to be. I just hope that Anna doesn't go insane from being deprived of YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. Anyways, it seems like Anna is sent back in time by the main fairy partner of the season, a pink panda-looking creature named Pochitan. Unfortunately, the act of time travel has caused Pochitan to lose all of their powers and turn into a baby. That's right, we have another magical baby mascot on our hands. It's up to Anna and company to collect the Makoto jewels. OMG, this is really Danganronpa, holy! To get Pochitan's powers back, and then she may be able to return Anna back to 2027. Honestly, when you think about it, this whole situation is kind of screwed up for Anna. Given that each season of Pretty Cure lasts for a year both in and out of universe, Anna will likely have aged a whole year by the time she gets back to 2027. I guess she won't have lost a year because she'll have spent that year in 1999 with her Pretty Cure pals, but she'd better not get a growth spurt during that time or else she'll have a lot of explaining to do to her family when she gets back. And even if we ignore all that, the fact is, Anna and her Fire-Forged friends are gonna have to bid each other farewell at the end of the season. Sure, Anna could find them again in 2027, but they'll all be in their 40s by then, and teenage Anna would be the odd one out. It wouldn't be the same. But we'll cross that bridge later. For now, we're calling 1999 now, Anna meets this girl named Mikaru, and the two team up together to transform into our first two cures of the season. This will, in fact, be the first time since 2016 that the lead cures need each other to transform. And they're fighting some thieves. Okay, that's not so innovative. Delicious Party Pretty Cure, which was only 4 years ago, already did the Phantom Thieves as the villain shtick. Heck, if we look at the trailer, and yes, there is a trailer out right now, the first villain shown is a pretty boy with long green hair. You want to know who else is a pretty boy Phantom Thief with long green hair? That's right, Narcistoru from Delicious Party Pretty Cure. Wow. Well, that's basically it for the plot. Now let's move on to the characters about whom we have a lot more information. We'll start with our main girl, Anna Akechi, aka Cure Answer. The description of Anna's personality doesn't stand out very much. She's a kind-hearted person with a habit of helping people out, and rather than think things through, she operates on gut instinct. Overall, not too dissimilar so far from your typical Genki Ditzy lead cure. That being said, like every other lead cure in the franchise's history, Anna has a catchphrase. Hers is, Hanamaru! A Hanamaru, or flower circle, is a symbol that gets put on a student's homework when they get perfect marks. So maybe this season's leader will be a bit more academically inclined than is typical. I'd like for her to be a bit clever at least, instead of being a dumb person who just stumbles into the right answers through the power of supernaturally good intuition. Anna's voice actor is Hikari Senga, a rookie voice actor. A lot of lead cures throughout the franchise's history are voiced by newcomers to the voice acting industry, which I think is really neat. As much as I love my voice actors I already know, we need more opportunities for new people to enter the field, and it shows a lot of respect to the voice actors of the future to let rookies take on a role as big as the main freaking character of the show. However, this trend of casting a rookie as the lead cure has fallen to the wayside as of late. The last leader to be voiced by an at-the-time rookie was Cure Precious from, yet again, Delicious Party Pretty Cure in 2022. One more thing, now that we have official HD images of what these characters look like in Cure form and civilian form, we can see Anna has an uncanny resemblance to Iroha from 2024's Wonderful Pretty Cure. They have the same hair and eye color. Well, Iroha's hair is more red-orange, while Anna's is more yellow-orange, but still, they look ridiculously alike. And they're both purple cures. At least Anna has a hat. I'm not sure if there's any other main character cure who regularly wears a hat in civilian form, and since this franchise is so long and has had so many main characters over the years, I'm too lazy to check. Well, that's it for Purple Lady over here. Now let's move on to Mikuru Kobayashi, aka Cure Mystique. Yeah, when I said Cure Mystic in the last video, I was wrong. In my defense, literally everyone else was also calling her Cure Mystic instead of Cure Mystique. All we had to go off of was the Japanese spelling and pronunciation, Hyua Misutiku. Cure Mystic was an educated guess. Anyways, our girl Mikuru is an aspiring detective who works hard towards her dream. She has tons of detective knowledge, and she prefers to solve mysteries by thinking them through rather than acting on instinct, the opposite of her buddy Anna. She's also clumsy, and she thinks things through so much that she's cautious before actually doing anything. Overall, Mikuru seems like a much more engaging character. Maybe she'll be a fail girl like Liko from Meitantei Pretty Cure? Liko's goal was to be a super successful witch, but despite studying her butt off, she just innately sucked at magic. Perhaps Mikuru's clumsiness and cautiousness will get in the way of her detective abilities, making it a struggle for her to pursue her dream as well. Or maybe Mikuru will just be a straight-up genius. Mikuru is voiced by Kaede Hondo, who, unlike Hikari Senga from earlier, has a sizable filmography. Among many other characters, Hondo provides the voice of Hakari freaking Hanazono from the 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You. I was not expecting that raunchy rom-com harem anime to come up here of all places. Granted, Hakari is only the latest in a not insignificant lineup of girlfriends from that show who share their VAs with pretty cures, but still, they're both pink too! Oh my lord. Okay, that's curtains for Pink Lady. It's time to talk about the one, the only, Cure Eclair! Now that we've got our first look at her that doesn't have the resolution of a used paper towel, we can see that my dude Cure Eclair theory has been officially debunked. Like, come on, a dress and long hair? I know femboys are a thing, but if this character turns out to actually be a cross-dressing dude, I'll keel over and die from surprise. Here's where I'd go into what information we have so far about Cure Eclair. If we had any! Yeah, the Meitantei website decided, what if we decide to be massive trolls for no reason? They put Cure Eclair as the 3rd out of 4 cures on the website. That puts her before Cure Arcana Shadow, who actually does have information listed about her. And yet, literally all they say about Cure Eclair is that she's an unidentified mystery pretty cure. Look out for the broadcast for answers! It's fitting for a detective-themed season to have one of its main characters be a literal mystery, though, so I can't be mad. Moving on to our 4th and final cure so far, Cure Arcana Shadow! My dude Cure Eclair theory might be dead on arrival, but my evil Cure Arcana Shadow theory was right on the money. You see, Cure Arcana Shadow works with the Phantom Thief bad guys. Feels good to be a genius. Cure Arcana Shadow has a civilian form. Her name, when not transformed, is Luluka Moria. And yes, her name is Luluka and not Ruruka as one would expect from a Japanese name, as can be clearly seen in this merchandise. Anyways, it seems like our girl Luluka might be an interesting fella. The website's description of her says she does things her own way and breaks the mold. It also says that despite not being very talkative, she has a passionate side to her that she keeps hidden. This is all very vague for now, but these are the makings of a potential fan favorite. Then again, the website's description also says that she's a mysterious girl, even though in the mysteriousness department she has nothing on Cure Claire. Luluka is voiced by Nao Toyama, who has a long, storied filmography. This isn't her first time in the Pretty Cure franchise even. She voiced Puff, one of the fairy mascots of 2015's Go Princess Pretty Cure. As for other stuff she's been in, I don't recognize much of it, but she did voice Snow White and Magical Girl Raising Project, as well as that one lady in Rent-A-Girlfriend who looks like Subaru from Hololive. That's all 4 of our cures so far. Before we move on to the fairies, the only other characters the website says anything about, I want to talk about these characters' designs a bit. I love how well these characters' designs go together while also being distinct. Since 2024 with Wonderful Pretty Cure, this franchise has done a really good job of letting each season's team members stand out as individuals while also being cohesive enough to clearly be part of the same group. In this case, there's tons of similarities between the Cure's designs. They all have dangly gem things coming off of their skirts, and they also have the exact same bow ties just in different colors. Plus, every one of them has gradient hair. Cure Answer and Cure Mystique especially go well together. Their lower skirts and their shoes are almost exactly the same, just with different colors. They also have similar over-the-shoulder quasi-cape thingies going on, but their upper skirts and their sleeve, cape, whatevers are differently shaped as well as being different colors, so they're still clearly distinct. One more thing I love about Answer and Mystique, they have that design chart I adore where each one's design slightly features the other's main color. Cure Answer's hair turns pink at the bottom, and Cure Mystique's hair similarly fades into purple. Cure Claire and Cure Arcana Shadow don't have quite the same level of cohesion, so they're likely not going to be a duo like Answer and Mystique. They have similarly shaped skirts, and that's about it. However, notice that the two of them have the same eye color. It could just be a coincidence, but also, what if they're actually sisters? I don't think we've ever had 2 Pretty Cure teammates who are siblings. Alright, it's fairy time. Most Pretty Cure seasons have only 1 or 2 fairies in the main cast, but this is one of those seasons where every cure has their own fairy partner. Well, almost every cure. Answer and Mystique have to share the same fairy partner, Pochitan, the time-traveling DHD-powered baby fairy I talked about earlier. Personality-wise, all we know is that they're a baby. I should mention the wiki refers to Pochitan as a girl, but I don't see anything on the website or in other material that confirms Pochitan's gender. Given that she's the main fairy mascot though, she's almost certainly female. We haven't had a male main mascot since Yes Pretty Cure 5 Go Go all the way back in 2008. Pochitan will be voiced by Emiru Kato. This is another very experienced voice actor who has previously been in the franchise. In 2022's Delicious Party Pretty Cure, Kato voiced this one minor character that nobody cares about. She also voiced that one loli from Medaka Box, and one of the twins from Lucky Star. Her most famous role, though, is probably Kyubey from Quella Magi Madoka Magica. I wonder if Pochitan will turn out to secretly be evil, too. The next fairy is Shushutan, who is Cure Claire's fairy partner. That's literally all the website says about them for now. In case you thought we were going to get any information about Cure Claire at all, even if indirectly, no we're not. Next up is Mashutan, the fairy partner of Cure Arcana Shadow. The previous 2 fairies matched up color-wise with their partners. Pochitan is mostly pink like Cure Mystique but has purple ears like Cure Answer, and Shushutan is teal like Cure Claire. But even though Cure Arcana isn't the purple cure, Mashutan is purple. Whatever, I guess. Cure Arcana Shadow does have some purple in her design. Mashutan seems like a mature fairy. In fact, despite her cutesy appearance, I predict that she's actually an adult, which is rare for fairy partners. She practices fortune-telling and is able to predict anything. She also has a strong bond with Cure Arcana Shadow and has an overly helpful personality. Overall, doesn't seem like a particularly villainous character, despite being an ally to an ally of the Phantom Thieves. I can imagine there being a very interesting conflict between Mashutan's kind nature and her loyalty to Cure Arcana Shadow. Mashutan's gender isn't explicitly stated either, by the way, but judging by her prominent eyelashes and earrings, I think it's safe to assume she's a girl. Mashutan's voice actor is Hina Yomiya. She only started voice acting in 2021, but she's been in quite a bit of anime in only the past 5 years. Not just big characters either, lots of main roles. I don't recognize any of them, but if any of these characters on screen ring a bell for you, congratulations! You might have a good idea of what Mashutan will sound like. Before we move on to the final and probably most important fairy, let's go over some information about the fairies as a whole. First of all, each of the fairies resembles a different real-world animal. Pochitan looks like a panda, Shushutan looks like a tanuki, and Mashutan looks like a fox. Second, Pochitan and Mashutan each have a special title, which means Shushutan likely does too, it just hasn't been revealed yet. Pochitan is the Space-Time Fairy, which is a freaking awesome title. This reflects Pochitan's ability to cross over time and space. Mashutan, meanwhile, is the Fortune-Telling Fairies, because she does fortune-telling. Finally, Pochitan has the same birthday as Cure Mystique, and Mashutan has the same birthday as Cure Arcana Shadow. This likely means Shushutan has the same birthday as Cure Eclair. What could this possibly mean? Is there perhaps a fairy out there who has the same birthday as Cure Answer? And now, it's time for the final fairy in our list. Well, actually, he's the first of the fairies listed on the website, but I decided to save the most exciting one for last. Introducing Jet Senpai, aka the boy from the leaks whom I thought was Cure Eclair, but it turns out they're actually two different people. So if this Kagamina and Len looking elementary school fella isn't a Cure, what is he? The answer is that he's a cat-looking fairy who spends most of his time in human form and is embarrassed whenever he's seen in fairy form. He's a self-proclaimed genius who invents stuff to help the Cures. Despite this, he doesn't have a fancy title like the others. Also, senpai is a Japanese word used to refer to your seniors or upperclassmen. Perhaps Jet Senpai is older than he looks and just ages slower because he's a fairy. Jet Senpai looks pretty stern, but the website says that despite what one might think, he's actually a kind dude. I would bet money that this guy turns out to be a tsundere. That would be fun. Also, even though Jet Senpai is officially not Cure Eclair, I am still praying that he becomes a mid-season Cure. Back in 2023, Cure Wing proved that a dude can be a main character Cure, but since then, the franchise has just been teasing us with important guy characters who transform once, and then never again. First, Satoru and Daifuku in 2024, and then Kaito in 2025. But Jet Senpai is featured a lot more in the promotional material than any of them, so maybe he'll actually have a chance. Jet Senpai will be voiced by Yuki Kaji, who is a pretty big deal in the voice acting industry. You probably best know him as Todoroki from My Hero Academia. You'll probably also recognize him as the guy from Seven Deadly Sins, the guy from High School DxD, one of the evil guys from Diabolic Lovers, and one of the many guys from Ensemble Stars. And that's just scratching the surface. It's pretty interesting that they chose a fully grown dude to voice this tiny little child, but first of all, Kaji might be able to pull off a high-pitched voice like Ayumu Murase did as Cure Wing back in 2023, and second of all, Jet Senpai might be older than he looks anyways. And that's it! Sorry I took so ridiculously long getting this video out. I had a lot of thoughts on the boatload of information that this website revealed, and to be frank, the idea of putting it all into script form was so intimidating that I procrastinated on it for like a week. Well, unless any new information comes out in the next handful of days, I'll see you all again once episode 1 comes out. February 1st cannot come fast enough. Bye bye.